Price, we Leon, the Jokester, BlindSpot podcast.
Yo, it's Leon the Jokester, man. And yes, this is another great episode of the BlindSpot podcast. So, tonight, got another special guest, man. We're going to do it real big with Hilton Price. And so, about to get him on the line. But we're about to do it real major. Shouts out to everyone that's been showing a lot of love and support. And so, basically, tonight's guest, man, is going to be big, man. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on, man, with no further ado. He's been tearing up the comedy club scene, hosting and performing himself. I seen on Facebook he's been doing some traveling with this comedy and everything, man. So, give it up, everybody, for Hilton Price, man. How you doing, bro?
Hey, man. How's it going? Thanks for having me.
For sure, man. Just chill it out, man. Chill it out. So before we get started, I just want to say to everyone that's tuning in to the BlindSpot podcast, Hilton Price, man, really looks out for a lot of local comedians as well as national comedians, man, like getting them on the bill, the roster to perform, and like just really showing a lot of love, man. He's also looked out for me, getting me booked at the Looney Bin and just so forth, man. It's just showing a lot of love, man. So thank you, Hilton, for always looking out for everybody, man.
Yeah, well, it's the way I see it. It's just sort of giving back what was given to me. When I got started in this town performing, there was so much love and support, and we didn't have nearly the size and the amount of people we do now. But everyone was just so encouraging. And as a young performer, as a new performer, I should say, that's so important. So, now that I have the chance to sort of do that for others, it's the only way I know.
For sure, man. Now tell us, man, are you originally from Oklahoma? Where are you from?
I have lived all over. I was born in New York, and I lived along the East Coast in New York and New Jersey, and then down south in Florida. And I did a stretch out in Boston for a little bit, just in the years after college, too.
Okay. Now tell me, man, like, why comedy? When did you get your start, and you just woke up one day and said, this is something I want to do, stand-up comedy?
A few months before, maybe a year before I ever got involved, I used to see a friend, a guy named Corey Douglas, who's a very funny man. He still performs here in town. I used to see him, and I knew him from just hanging out at the bar when I was younger. And I would see him at work. He was working at a bookstore here in town, and we'd connect and chat as you do. And then he'd always say to me, I'm doing stand-up comedy, you should try it. And I'd blow him off. No, whatever, I'm happy. Well, sometime later, months, a year, whatever it was, I went through a bad breakup. Just a rough situation. A girl left me, and I didn't know how to handle it. And I always talk about how that's just a tough situation for anyone. When you lose someone you care about, that's difficult.
For sure.
So I finally hit him up, and I said, I need an outlet. I need something to distract me, something to keep me from thinking about this girl. How do I do this stand-up you've been telling me about? And he said, just come to the Looney Bin on a Wednesday at 6 o'clock. And back then, before the show, there used to be a writer's workshop where about 6 or 8 comics would get together, talk about what they've been writing, and help each other make it better. And it was a really cool thing. So I went, and immediately everybody was responding to the stuff I was talking about. And I think it was the second time I was there, one of the women there goes, get up on the stage. Just, and the show hasn't started yet. This is an hour before showtime. So it's an empty showroom with 8 or 10 comics sitting at a table. And Susan goes, get up there and tell me the joke. So I got up on the mic, and I just started talking, and immediately they all got up and gathered around the stage. And it was such an amazing feeling that I signed up to perform the very next week.
Oh, wow.
And I maybe did 2 minutes, 3 minutes, a real tiny little set, 1 joke, 2 jokes. But I got enough laughs that I was like, this is fun.
Okay.
And I just threw myself into it head on.
Man. So
years later, here we are.
So and again, like you mentioned living in New York and stuff. Like, would you say that's the ideal place for people to pack up and move to go ahead and really take stand-up comedy to the next level, Hilton? Or do you think people should remain in Oklahoma, continue to build? And this is for the local comedians that are tuning in and trying to get tips and stuff. Or do you think that, the whole Los Angeles Comedy Store, New York, Gotham, is that the step that people should go forth and don't waste time? Or should they humble themselves and remain in Oklahoma and building that resume and that time on stage?
Yes, all of it. Some of them are going to do better to be here. Some of them are going to do better to stay involved in their local scene. Maybe they're having fun with it, but they don't see themselves as some kind of top-tier comic, that is going to get a ton of success. Because, sure enough, going to New York, LA, you're just hitting the road and staying booked around the country. Mm-hmm. You got to be great.
Yes.
You got to be so good. Some people are funny. They got a good little thing going, but maybe that's not for them. So maybe they should hang out here, tour the region, build up contacts in Arkansas, Missouri, Texas, which is, here in Oklahoma. If you're listening out in Connecticut, of course, you deal with other states or Arizona or whatever. But and then some, they say, screw it. Whether I'm amazing, whether I just love it, whether I just have the passion, I'm going to New York, I'm going to LA, I'm going to Chicago is another big one, of course, and I'm going to go and just throw myself at this.
Yeah.
I say more power to them.
Yes. And what are some of the struggles that you face, man? Just like being in comedy, a lot of people standing outside looking in, they look at a lot of Netflix comedy shows and specials, and they just think that it's this easy deal where you just learn 2 or 3 jokes, get on stage, and ta-da! But it's more to that. The chemistry, just getting on stage and like, wow, I'm actually up here doing this. What would you say, are some of the struggles that people don't really hear about? They just think that it's, let's get some all-you-can-eat wings and we get on stage and everything. But there is a chemistry and a dynamic to comedy, man. So how have you overcome a lot of your struggles in comedy? I know there's politics behind it. Even if you stay out of it, there's things that we see and experience. So what advice would you have for the up-and-coming local comedians and comedians in general, how to get over those struggles and obstacles in politics?
It's the basics. It's the basics that we've known since we were kids. Work hard, be honest, help your fellow man, do what you can to make the environment around you better, and don't be a liar, don't be cheap, don't be a bully, don't be a gossip.
Yeah.
All the common stuff that we know is just the basics, and I think that's true of getting into any kind of business. You stick to those kind of values, you're going to go far. Maybe I'm not saying everyone's going to walk out of here and become the next number one comic on the scene, but you'll turn out good work. People will like to work with you. They'll appreciate what you do, and they'll know they can rely on you. And that's how you get good at business. And comedy very much is a business. You know this very well, I see.
Yes, it is, bro. And so what would you say, Hilton, do you think that the route that a person just now getting in should be hit the road or to take the comedy classes? Because I've met a lot of comedians that, and I know it varies, but, I mean, do you think that the comedy schools is the way? Because, man, when I do research and I look in LA and I look at different regions and markets, it's like a lot of people are pushing the comedy school. So of course that's going to grab people's attention, and people are going to think that, man, if I do the comedy school, then I'm in. But it's a little more to that, man. So what do you think? What do you see?
Well, I didn't get a formal schooling of any sort. There wasn't anything like that in Tulsa. Mm-hmm. Now we've got a couple. People like Roy Johnson with the Looney Bin does a class, and that has a lot of value. And Ryan Green, one of the local comics, does a class, or used to anyway. And these people have experience. They're road tested in some cases. They're brilliant comedic minds. They're people who definitely have a lot to share. So I would absolutely say, if that's an opportunity available to you, why not take it? But is that the only way? No. I mean, some people are naturals on stage. Some people are naturally funny writers, and those people develop the rest of the skills needed. you know?
Mm-hmm.
And just by doing it. Doing it, of course, is invaluable. The open mic situation or consistently performing, getting yourself booked in different venues, different kinds of stages, different parts of the country, that all has such unique qualities that it's only valuable.
Yes. So, and that's good. That's good. That's really good, Hilton. And so I'm thinking nowadays, a lot of times we, even for like, okay, for example, a lot of people see LeBron James and they're like, man, the NBA. And so for comedians, it's, let's just be honest, it's Netflix. Now it seems like all of a sudden Netflix, everybody just wants the Netflix contract. And so do you feel like that's the ultimate goal for a Hilton Price, a Roy Johnson, a Leon the Jokester, or whomever? Do you think that should be the ultimate goal in comedy, or do you think there's other ways that you can feel like I've made it, this is my success?
Well, especially to outsiders, and especially to comics, as we look towards the things that really, appeals to our heart, that superstardom that we'd love to see. Sure, the specials, the Netflix effect is obviously a thing, but really, success in comedy is being a touring comic, being someone who can go around the country constantly and play the clubs all over and be working and making money every week. I mean, that's the reasonable goal for a comedian, is to get on the road and find a path like that. If it's something where you're just going to try and aim for a special, that's great, and obviously you never let go of your dreams. I mean, that's the kind of thing that gives you the heart.
Yes.
When you have those tough moments late at night, you doubt yourself. You say, "No, screw that, man. One day I'm going to stand on that stage. My friends are going to be sitting on the couch and boop, 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 and they're going to choose my special, But that's not going to happen.
Yes.
To 99% of us.
Yes.
So you also got to be thinking about, like, well, if why aren't I booking rooms around my community, around my region, the group of states around me, around just this corner of the country, the whole country, the world? Get on those SSO tours, man. Can't tell you how many comics I brought to the stage at the Bin who just got back from doing it for the troops. And how cool is that? Go to freaking Saudi Arabia and perform for men and women that are giving their lives for us.
That's deep. That's deep, bro. That's real deep.
So,
and how has your... Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, there's just so many different paths, and it's really about finding the way that you can consistently make the income you're looking for, or at least have the personal satisfaction of the experience on stage that you're looking for. And that should be the real attainable goal for anybody.
Yes, absolutely, man. And shouts out to all the troops out there and all the comedians showing love in that area too, man. That's very huge, because we had a show a few months ago. Actually, it was the show with the Mr. Hollywood guy. And you were there, Hilton, and the guy that opened for him, he was talking about how he did, the shows for the troops and stuff. So that's dope, man. That's real dope. So, and that's a good segue, man, to what I was gonna ask next. How has your worldview like been shaped through the eyes of through the lens of comedy when it comes to like friendships and interacting at your job? And because a lot of times comedy really evolves around your lifestyle, so like from your day job to doing comedy to traveling to your friendships, like all of that, bro. How has comedy helped improve that?
Well, the self-awareness that comes from comedy can be very good for your social interactions, because it helps you understand how what you say affects people, and how you deliver the things you say, how you respond when someone is on board for something, not on board for something. I mean, it's definitely a communication skill, and a confidence booster too. Because we get off stage, we bring something that we pull from our heart, something from our creative mind, and we use that to entertain people. That's a freaking rush,
It is.
You do comedy for a bit, you're going to be more confident. You may still be, plenty of comics have got issues they're wrestling with, emotional, psychological, they're working through stuff, they're depressed. Plenty of comics struggle, right?
Yes.
But we all also still derive some kind of confidence through that ability to get up there and turn that into art, you know?
Yes,
And
yes.
that's great. So
For
I think
sure.
it really can only help you in those aspects.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I totally agree, man. It's just pulling from your everyday life, and it helps form who you are. Roy Johnson once told me, he said, when you get on stage, people need to know who you are. Like, who's Hilton Price? Who's Leon the Jokester? Like, because that way when they leave, they can say, oh, I learned more about his wife, or I learned more about his son, or you know what I'm saying. It really becomes you and your personality. And I even heard Kevin Hart talk about it too. It's like they don't always remember your name, but they remember who you are, your personality, and what you brought to the table.
Yeah.
So that's good, man. That's real good. And so yeah, I was thinking too, like in comedy, you find that a lot of times people say it's free thought, like kind of like what Kanye West is going through right now. We'll get into that in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
It's free thought. So are there limitations to stand-up comedy? Because you know, when we talk about worldviews, we talk about people going through different things and struggles, transgenders, you know, religious people, political comedians. So what's your take when it comes to your beliefs, your politics, like, and what's the limitations when you're on stage? First, you can touch on your beliefs, because a lot of comedians reference God in their shows and their sets. Then I want you to expound on your politics. Is it okay to talk Trump? Is it okay to talk politics? And then the end with, you know, the overall, like, what's the limitations on stage when you have a mic, if there's any?
Well, I think a lot of people get to approach that differently and uniquely from their own perspective.
Yes.
Obviously, when it comes to things like religion or faith, you have avenues you can go down if you want to pursue that as a goal of your comedy, to share your faith, to spread your faith, whatever it may be. I know there is an avenue there. Or if you're looking to do more of a general kind of audience comedy, you can still have that element and share it maybe in a more subdued fashion, more of a, you know, show it as who you are, but not necessarily preach maybe a little.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And of course, plenty of comics are, you know, just your dyed-in-the-wool hardcore agnostics and atheists and cynics, and, you know, there's plenty of that in the scene, and, you know, doesn't seem to factor into their work a lot at all.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty that we have right now is that there is avenues for all of them. And the internet even expands that 100-fold.
Yeah.
Because, you know, whether you're a specific kind of comic, you're an all-purpose comic, you know, you're going to be able to share what you are and hopefully find some kind of audience for you. And I think it's true of politics, too. I think the same thing, there's plenty of comics that lean right or lean left, and they can find their audience. And I think anytime you're dealing with any of these things, though, religion, politics, some of the more taboo, sexual, gender, race issues, you're always going to have to sort of gauge your room, because, you know, that crowd may not want to hear right-wing comedy. They may not want to hear left-wing comedy. Maybe they're not comfortable talking about issues faced by homosexuals. And you gotta, I think it's a very strong thing to do, to be able to dip your foot in a joke, realize the crowd isn't on board, and change it up.
Yes.
Not because you're shying away from the stuff you care about, not because you're being weak, but because you're there to entertain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want them to walk out of there having had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so maybe you got some great jokes, you know, making fun of the left, but if your crowd seems to be pretty liberal, maybe you save those and you just bust out some good old-fashioned aren't men and women different. You know?
That's good, Hilton. That's good. So limit.
At the same time,
yeah.
You know, some comics, it's really, they're on a path and it's all they are. There's comics that are just right-wing, man. They're hardcore, you know, big fans of the president and that whole side of politics, and they're passionate about it, and they tell jokes about it. And if that's all they got, if they don't have anything else, So more power to you, but, aim for those rooms. Find those little bars that are like that. Find those environments that are like that. There's plenty of comics like that. So hitch onto one of their trains if you can't start opening for their shows. I mean, there's a path for everybody.
Yes, that's true. And because of all the stuff that's happened with Bill Cosby and different ones, man, like, do you feel like there's limitations though? Do you feel like when you're on stage that you really can't say certain things, or do you think it's free will to all?
I'm a big fan of the recent conversation that has sprung up from, people who have fought back against comics who make fun of marginalized people, whether it's by a race or gender or sex or whatever. I'm a big fan of this statement. You want to punch up, not punch down. You want to attack people in power. You want to attack people that have privilege. You don't want to attack somebody who's already marginalized. And I know not everybody agrees with that, and some people just think a joke is a joke and nothing should be off limits, and I don't hate that. It's just not for me. And I try to keep that in mind during my comedy, that, I'm not looking to, I'm not going to make fun of the Me Too movement by making fun of the women who've been hurt. You know?
Yes.
And, because I don't see a lot of fun in that.
But do you think like a person like Kanye West right now that's catching a lot of flack because he's just speaking his mind? Do you feel like that's okay though, like in the realm of comedy, or do you still feel like you just need to find your lane? Because I know for a lot of new comics, it takes a little while for you to just find like, okay, this is who I am as a comic, and this is what I'm going to present. Like with Chris Rock, he's very political. And then with Dave Chappelle, it's kind of like nothing's off limits, man. This is what I'm going to say. And I know that they feel a certain way because they'll start trying to explain themselves while they're doing their set. I've heard Dave Chappelle in one of his recent Netflix specials, like, try to explain himself from what he said to a woman or whatever. And so, but he's worth over $50 million. So why are you trying to explain yourself? I think deep down inside, we as comics do care what the people have to say, but we still don't want to be marginalized and put in a box. So do you congratulate Kanye West for still having free thought, or do you think, it's one of those things we do need to be mindful of what's being said?
I think it's important to be mindful of what you're saying. I don't know that this necessarily applies to Kanye.
Yeah.
He's Kanye. Not only has he always been a free speaker, we have shown him success and love for being a free speaker. So when you empower somebody through their ability to say something a little shocking, a little off-putting, a little challenging, it's not uncommon for them to continue to do that kind of behavior. So does he really mean 100% everything that he's been saying the last couple days? It's hard to say, man. We're talking about these crazy celebrities that have the entire eyes of the world on them, But for young comics that are coming up and they're fans of Anthony Jeselnik, they're fans of the comics that are unflinching in their comedy. You know what? I don't see how that's going to work for a new comic, because a lot of times you got to take your knocks. You got to learn how to play all different kinds of rooms, like I talked about. And you're not going to get that special right off the bat. You're not going to get a headlining show right off the bat, So I think young comics would be wise to learn a lot of lessons, look for a lot of different avenues, take as much in as you can. Don't pigeonhole yourself, and,
Yes.
But in the end, too, I know that there has been those occasional success stories where someone just skyrockets. So I can't hate a young, passionate person for wanting to try and aim for the sky,
Yes, absolutely. Thinking of which, where's Hilton Price in 3 to 5 years in comedy? Where would you like to be?
Probably right here, man. I enjoy what we're doing in Tulsa right now so much. We've got such a great group of comedians. We've got so many great recurring shows. Some of the people like Lauren Turner and Laura Cook have been putting on these great monthly shows. Ryan Green, Andrew Deacon, Michael Zampino, and Landry Miller
Yes.
running Channel 4.5, doing the podcasts, putting on the open mics across town. These people are keeping this scene alive and keeping it 10 times bigger than it was 10 years ago when I started, when there was just the Looney Bin. And there's still the Looney Bin, and Roy's doing a hell of a job running that club, and I'm so proud to be part of their local mic over there. But it's just, we have tons of opportunity, and as a comic myself, I don't see myself hitting the road. I mean, I've got a day job I'm super passionate about. I'm a producer with Fox 23 News here in Tulsa.
Woo woo.
And I love that work, and I love those people. So I'm very much, and I'm a 9-to-5er. So to have an environment here that I can enrich and hopefully make better for the comics coming up in it, or the comics that are maturing in it, I would be pleased as punch to find myself in this exact same spot, building on new projects, new shows, new adventures,
Yeah.
But really making Tulsa everything it can be.
Yeah, and I really do feel like the Tulsa or Oklahoma scene in general has really taken off. I mean, a lot of times the word on the street is that Oklahoma is so behind, but I really do think when it comes to the comedy scene, we really have showed our colors, true colors, that hey, we can hang with the big ones too. Like, don't leave us out. You know what I'm saying? And so I see comedians coming from all over to want to come and do comedy with us from Missouri, Kansas. I mean, that's huge, bro. That's huge. And I also like the fact that, everyone is very jovial about it. Like, hey, you do business with me, I come to your city, you come to mine. That's love, man.
Yeah, and that's the thing, especially people like Ryan Green, C.R. Parsons, who gets to tour the region a lot. Billy Bizarre and his Bizarre Entertainment tours the region. Roy, of course, was nationally touring before he settled here to do the club. There's so many names. Gerald Harris, good God, man, that guy's toured all over the country, and he's made his home base here. And these guys, they make those connections, so it's over the years. That's why comics in Kansas City go, oh, no, I know a guy in Tulsa. We can go have a good time. Guys out in Louisiana, or I know a guy in Tulsa. Let's go do some shows. And that's why we can pull that in. Not just the Looney Bin, which is the perfect centerpiece for this town, to have that comedy club, But you can also get these other comics that get to come in and do shows at the Blackbird, or at the Comedy Parlor, or at the Starlight, and they're willing to come in from out of town because they know I'm going to have a good time, going to see good crowds, and I'm going to work with good comics. And that's all you want.
Yes, that's good. That's good, man. What does Hilton Price do for fun, man? I know comedy is fun, your job is fun, but what's the top 3 things that we could catch Hilton Price doing?
Oh, man, I am a tried and true geek, man. I am video games and comic books. If my Saturdays are best spent reading some comics over a cup of coffee in the morning, playing some video games in the afternoon. I love retro games. I grew up on the old Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and I just have such a soft spot for all that old, the old games, the old comics, the culture around it. It's just that's all for me.
Okay, what did you think about the Avengers Infinity?
Ooh, man, did you see it?
Yeah. It was the real deal.
Oh, man.
In the Black Panther.
A mind-blowing experience.
Yes. Yeah, that between that and Black Panther, I don't know which one is, but I'm going to just say, hands down, I like them all.
Man, Avengers was cool. Obviously, that was something they've been building up to for 10 years.
Yes.
And I loved the story. I was blown away by some of the chances they took with the story. I mean, that was one of I never had the wind knocked out of me so hard in a movie before.
Yes.
But that's also the product of a whole thing. As a standalone movie goes, we have not seen many action movies better than Black Panther. That movie was awesome.
Yeah, it was a whole nother level. And I'm still waiting for the day that they've made 8 Mile for Eminem. They've made these superhero movies. But when are they going to do a straight up stand-up comedy movie for 2018, 2019, Hilton, that really speaks to the hearts of the up-and-coming comedian. Not like, oh, here's the Richard Pryor comedy story. I'm talking about like there's this guy, he's in a relationship, he's doing comedy, he's going to college, and then at the very end, he just kills on stage, and it was like this big comedy competition, bro. Wouldn't that be dope if somebody actually put up the funds to do that? It may end up being like a local like film or something, but I can totally see that making a lot of money. Can you imagine all the comedians around the world going to see it, and it's set up just like the movie 8 Mile?
Yeah. A story about some young kid coming up in the comedy game.
Yeah.
And finding success, going through. There's a whole story, but like I can picture that last scene, man. I can picture that final 10 minutes where they're montaging through his show, showing him telling the jokes, seeing the crowd laughing at him, and he's got some loved one out in the crowd that's standing by his side. And
Yes.
see him succeed. Yeah, oh man, that would be a blast.
I'm waiting for that, man. The day will come. It may be us, man. It may be something that we actually that don't take our ideas. Those that are tuning in, for sure.
Yeah, you gotta be careful who's listening.
I know, man. I know. So the ultimate question for tonight, man. The last question I always love to leave my show with is the legacy, man. When the lights are cut off, the people have shook your hands and they're saying, great time, Hilton, man. That was a heck of a show. Like, what type of legacy and stand-up does Hilton Price want to be remembered by when it's all said and done?
You almost answered it in the question with what you have them saying to me. Great time, had fun. Whether it's stand-up comedy, whether it's getting to host stand-up shows, I've also done work in burlesque and art shows and trivia nights and dance parties. All I've ever wanted to do as an MC and as a comic is to give people something to enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on in the world. There's so much to stress over. There's so much difficulty that we're fighting over things, large and small, that to be someone who can deliver a good time or to host an event where I'm saying this next thing coming to the stage, you don't want to miss it. This is a good time. That's what I love. Getting to tell somebody this is cool. Check it out. And so I mean, if there's any kind of legacy I leave behind, I just hope that I gave people a good time.
For sure, man. Well said. Hilton Price, everybody. Social media, man, how can people get a hold of you, man? Because I know you're hosting. You're always doing great things at the Looney Bin and all over. And so what's next for you, and any social media outlets, anything that you need to tell the people?
Well, of course, I am, we talked about the Looney Bin a lot. I host a local mic at the Tulsa Looney Bin every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, bringing up some of Tulsa's best up-and-comers and some of our regional favorites. I also am proud to produce the monthly comedy showcase at the Starlight here in Tulsa with my good friend Laura Cook. I host 2 podcasts. If you want to have some fun for your ears when you get done listening to this one right here, you can check me out on I want to be respectful of how we speak on your show, so we'll just call it Opinions. But you search for me and Michael Zampino, and you'll find that one. I also host one that talks about the NBC show The Office. We call that the People Paper Podcast with my buddy Brian Sittler. So if you want to dive into some funny TV, we can do that. And then, of course, I'm performing all over, whether it's the Beehive Lounge here in Tulsa. I'm going out to Springfield, Missouri next month, or just the Looney Bins in Little Rock, Wichita, Oklahoma City. So find me on Facebook, Hilton Price. I'm the only one, so you search Hilton Price, you're going to find me.
For sure, man. And I always appreciate everything, man. You've always definitely opened up many doors for me, man. And I know that, I took a 2-minute hiatus to try to work on this 45-minute set for the churches and whatnot, man. But I'm coming back this summer, man. If you guys will have me, I'm going to be back on the scene.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure I told you in person last time I saw you on Facebook, but as soon as you're ready to get back up at the Looney Bin, you just give me a call.
For sure, man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, Hilton Price. You guys, thank you for tuning in to the Blind Spot podcast. I'm Leon the Jokester. We had Hilton Price on tonight, man. God bless and good night.